was talking about the cyberbullying and how it impacts our children. We've talked about how the brain actually lights up in the same areas as it does when our brains are exposed to illicit substances, and it releases a chemical called dopamine. But what happens over time is that we actually have a craving for social media. Like, we can't put it down. We have to have it. We have to look at it. We have to check. We have to be looking at our notifications to make sure we haven't missed anybody liking something that we posted on social media. We have to make sure that we're not missing something that maybe some picture that we posted, making sure that people actually liked it and commented on it. I have found myself doing the exact same thing, trying to check and make sure people liked my things that I posted on social media. There is a problem when you have to check. There's a problem when we have to check the social media to make sure that our things are posting correctly and that our pictures look a certain way. We have to check and make sure we get the amount of likes that we wanted on social media. We have a problem then. And our children have a problem as well, because all of their friends are now, good morning, all of our friends are now on social media. So we got to make sure we're keeping up with our friends. We got to make sure we're keeping up with our coworkers. We got to make sure we're keeping up with everybody else. But there's research that is showing indirect, correlations to the effects of social media on our brains. It's changing. They're looking at how it could be physiologically, like literally changing the way that our brain functions because we spend so much time on social media. We need our brains to function in such a way that we are able to carry out the activities of daily life that we need to carry out. And we cannot focus the way that we need to focus on those things because our social media, our drive and our need for social media is so strong. Some of the articles even talked about how people go through withdrawal symptoms, not being on it. That's not healthy. Not to mention, we're missing out on actual healthy social interactions that we could be having with the people that are sitting directly across from us. I have been in a room with teenagers. I've been in a room with adults and literally watch them. Everybody's on their phone. We're all supposed to be out eating together, and everybody's on their phones, on social media of some kind, or if they're not on social media, they may be on YouTube watching some video. But we're so technology and media driven that we don't realize that we're missing out on valuable emotional connections that we need to be having with the people that are right around us. We miss out on those intellectual conversations that we need to be having with the people that are right around us. We miss out on those valuable moments that our children are engaging in. We're so quick to want to pull out our phones, pull out our technology to record those special moments in our lives versus actually taking the time to be present in the moment. Social media has become such a place where it's become detrimental almost to our well-being. We can't even take the time that we need to take to spend with the people that we say are the most important to us. We can't even take the time to focus on our studies because we are focused on our social media. Another thing that the articles that I was looking at highlighted is that the focus on social media actually takes away from our brain's ability to focus on other things. So it was kind of leaning more toward the actual use of technology, but we use a lot of technology so that we can stay connected on our social media outlets. So it's very important that we monitor how much time we are spending on our social media outlets. So we have to make sure that social media does not take the priority of actually engaging with people. There's studies and research that are related to how people are actually feeling less connected, more so than feeling more connected, which was what social media was originally intended to do. It was intended to connect us even more. But what's happening is because of the improper usage of social media, we have come to a place where we're feeling less connected to those who are around us versus feeling more. So I have had times where my husband and I've asked that we not be on our social media. If we go out to dinner, or if we go out to lunch, we may put our phones down or put our phones away from us, like set them to the side. And so we're not on our social media outlets and interacting there, instead of taking that valuable, precious time that we have to interact with each other. We have to be very mindful of how our emotional and our social well-being is being impacted by the use of social media. We have to be concerned with how it's impacting our physical brain function, to make sure that we're not engaging more in our social media in such a way that it is literally changing the way that our brain functions. It is so amazing how our bodies are created and how our minds are created in such a way that it doesn't take much, once a habit is developed, that it begins to change the way that we function and the way that we see things. So we have to be mindful of those things, and it can get so out of hand. So one of the things that I'm encouraging you to do today is not necessarily delete all of your social media accounts or not interact on your social media platforms, because if you utilize it for the purpose of a business or networking, for maybe you're running for a political office, or maybe you are running for the school board or something else, I'm not telling you get rid of all your social media. Social media as a whole is evil. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is monitor your intake. Monitor what you're watching. Monitor how much you are comparing your life to other people's because of your social media exposure. If you constantly find yourself in a state of depression, that could be due to the fact that you are comparing what you have versus what somebody else has posted on Facebook or on Instagram. So often we forget that one of the videos I was watching related to this topic was talking about how we only post the good moments in our lives. Nobody really posts the moments where they were sick, or they were in the hospital, or they had an accident. Nobody really posts the bad stuff. Nobody posts when they're going through a hard financial time. Nobody posts those things on social media. And so when you are only seeing those good things that people post about their lives on social media, and you take a look at your life where you are in the actual present and real time, and it doesn't look like what you're seeing on social media, you can have the tendency to fall into a depression. Some people fall into anxiety. They get anxious because they feel like they're not where they need to be, because they see somebody else's stuff that's posted on social media. I'm very careful about what I post, because I know that it has an impact on other people. And that's not to say that you don't celebrate your wins, and you don't celebrate the positive things that are happening in your life, or you don't share encouragement on social media platforms, or you don't use social media to maybe take a stand politically or against some injustice that's happening in the world. But we need to monitor how much of it we're doing. How long are we on it? After we posted our pictures, after we've shared with the world our accomplishments, after we've shared what a great weekend or vacation that we've had, how long do we stay on social media after that is over? If you're like me, you post your stuff, and then you scroll a little bit, and then you scroll a little bit, and then you scroll a little bit more. So I want to encourage you to monitor how social media is impacting your ability to focus. I want to encourage you to monitor how social media, the usage of social media, is impacting your mood. Are you more anxious? Are you more depressed? Are you more on edge? Are you more withdrawn? Are you less likely to engage with actual people versus engaging with them over the social media platforms? Are you finding yourself more down in the dumps, feeling bad about who you are, feeling bad about your own abilities, feeling bad about yourself in such a way that you can literally almost feel yourself just going down. If you are feeling like that, you may need to look at how much you're interacting on your social media. There was a time, this is just a recommendation for some of us who have a hard time logging off, or have a hard time getting rid of our accounts, or maybe just taking a break for an extended period of time. There was a point in time where I started just logging off of social media for the week. After I did what I needed to do, maybe sharing about events